Hey, what's up guys, it's Apollo Uchiha here, back with another part of What If Naruto Was Banished. And if you haven't, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And without further ado, let's continue our story. The next day, Naruto and Hinata woke up and made their way to the Hokage Tower, with Anbus escorting them. Before they reached there, there were a number of people who he needed to see. Hey there, old man, it's been a while. Who do you think? He turns around. Oh, Uzukage-sama. Sorry, I didn't know it was you. Oh, come on. Did you forget your number one customer? Naruto said as he removed his Kage hat. Naruto? The old man yelled. Hearing that name, Ayame came rushing in. Dad, did you say Naruto? He just nodded and points. Hey there, Ayame. Naruto, she yelled and hugged him, causing Hinata to giggle. Oh my god. Do you know how worried we were? Are you alright? Did you eat well? Have you slept enough? And the list went on. I think if he's the Uzukage, then he's fine. Uzukage? Oh my god, congrats! I am so proud of you. Finally, noticing Hinata, she said, So, is she your wife? Yup, this is Hinata Uzumaki. Hinata, these two are of the best people in all of the Konoha. So, what can I get for you? Well, let's start for 10 bolts and then 50 to go. They all just looked at him and then laughed. Yup, you certainly have your appetite, he said as he began making the ramen. The other three just talking about what happened during the past 7 years and whatnots. When they were finished, Naruto paid the bill and he and Hinata went off to meet someone else. Hey there, Iruka-sensei. It's been a while, hasn't it? You too, Konohamaru. Looking up from his desk, he saw the Uzukage looking at him. It's an honor to meet you, Uzukage-sama, but have we ever met before? The woman beside the Uzukage started laughing. Taking off his hat, he smiled. Now do you know who I am, sensei? Naruto! They both yelled and tackled him to the floor. Where have you been? Do you know how worried we were? And then Iruka enters his mother hen mode. Iruka-sensei, you're losing him. Forget about him, Nissan. You're the Uzukage now. Wow, that's so cool. Uzukage? How did you manage to pull that off? Never mind. You were always the unpredictable ninja, weren't you? I believe that this woman besides you must be Hinata, right? He said as they got off the floor. Yup, sensei. Kono, this is my wife, Hinata Uzumaki. Whoa, boss, she's really pretty. Nothing like that ugly pink-haired bitch. Kono, watch your language, please. You know, the rest of your teammates were hated and criticized all this time. Are you going to forgive them? Hell no, he's not, Konohamaru yelled. It's all their fault. They deserves it. Sorry, sensei, but Kono is right. I'm not going to forgive them so easily. Alright, I won't push you, but the Naruto I knew was a forgiving person. That just means sensei playing the guilt trip, he said laughing. Well, I have to go see Lady Hokage now, so I'll be going off. See ya, boss. Take care of yourself, Naruto. You too, Hinata. Both said goodbye to Iruka and Konohamaru and left in a flash. He reached the Hokage tower and knocked. Enter. They heard and went in. There they saw Tsunade sitting in her chair with a pile of paperwork. When she saw them, she instantly lit up. Hey there, brat. Here to gloat some more about yourself? She said jokingly. As much as I would. Love to do that. No, we just came to tell you goodbye. We're heading out tomorrow. Naruto, now. We're heading out today now. Oh yeah, sorry about that. I forgot. He said with a smile. Are you not really going to reconsider? I know that they didn't treat you well. Heck, that's an understatement, but what about the people who are your friends? Sorry, Bachan, but my answer is still no. But you know, you're getting a bit old for this job, you know. Oh, thank you so much for reminding me, she said sarcastically as they all laughed. You know, Tsunade-sama, you could just come over to Uzushio and live there, Hinata said. She's right. You have Uzumaki blood in you, and it's Mito Uzumaki. There are always some people who see her in high regards back in home, the Uzumaki clan. Well, I guess I could think about retirement. Uzushio, huh? Not bad. I guess I'll think about it. It would do me good to get to know my grandmother's side of the family, she said. Well, we're off. It was really nice seeing you again, he said and then flashed to the gate with Hinata and Tsunade. There, he saw his friends and Jiraiya at the entrance. Man, you wanna leave without saying goodbye to us? Kiba said. Troublesome. He's right. Are you really not going to help Konoha? Jiraiya asked. I'm sorry, Edo-sanin. Even if I wanted to, which I honestly do not, I can't. My hands are tied. What exactly, thoughts? Neji asked. Uzushio has a non-aggression treaty with both Kumo and Iwa, along with a trade treaty. But a powerful country like Uzu, surely you would need a youthful alliance. Yeah, we do. We have an alliance with Suna and Kiri, along with the Wave and Spring countries and other small villages. Nata replied, Whoa, you're doing all, aren't ya, kid? I guess it's back to Uzu now, isn't it? Nope. I think we're gonna go to Suna. We hardly go out, and I haven't seen Gara in a while. You alright with that, Hime? I don't see why not. We're already gonna be in trouble with Arashi, so best we make it the most of it, she giggled. Oh, although I said I won't help you. Take this file, he said as he gave it to Tsunade. What's it about? She said. It's about the Akatsuki. Pain isn't the real leader, as what you all believe. Then who is it? Jiraiya asked. Have you ever seen a masked man among them? You mean the weird one that always says Toby's a good boy? Kiba mocked, which led to everyone's laughing. Well, yes, but that's just an act. He was the same man who released and put a genjutsu on Kurama 20 years ago. He called himself Madara Uchiha, but that isn't the truth. I think you should come in and tell us everything. This is just getting weirder and weirder, Jiraiya said. Sorry, but I don't want to stay here any longer than I have to. I told you, when my uncle finds out I actually came here in the first place, I'll be screwed. But you're the Uzukage. I'm also his long-lost nephew, who should burn this village to the ground. Anyways, everything is in that file. There's no point anyways. Thank you. I know after everything you went through, you shouldn't have been even considering coming back, but it means a lot for you to come visit. Tsunade said as she hugged him. She's right, kid. Hope you'd invite us, though. By the way, how did you manage to hide the country for so long? Oh, that was simple. I just put a seal all around Konoha, and making it that anyone knew anything about Uzu, they would completely forget about it. Even the messenger birds that have been carrying the information on papers. This information will be erased. That's ingenious, but for something that big. When did you sneak back to Konoha? I didn't, honestly. I always knew that one day they'll use Kurama's power against me, but I never thought that it would be execution, maybe just banishment. So I did it while I was here. But as much as I would love for you to stay, I guess our time is up. It was really nice seeing you all again. See ya. And with that, they disappeared in a yellow flash. I don't think I'll ever get used to seeing that. I'm just glad we can go to Uzu anytime, Lady Tsunade. You should have seen the place. It was so beautiful and so luxurious, and everyone was treated equally. Even the civilians, alongside the shinobis, Ino said. Well, I guess we should get going. That is after the war issue is gone. Minato, your son has really grown, Jiraiya thought. In Suna, Gaara is trying to defeat the one thing that every Kage has to face, paperwork. There is a knock on this door and knowing who it is. He says, come in. In comes Naruto and his wife, Hinata. Hey there, Gaara. It's been a while. Yes, it has. How did you get out of Arashi's side? He chuckled. It was known to a lot of people that Uzumaki Arashi was quite tough on his nephew, but loved him all the same. Well, Konoha came for an alliance and we refused. But I sorta left Uzushio to Konoha just to see what they were offering. Which was nothing, Gaara. Absolutely nothing. They were literally grasping for straws and then starting demanding things from me. Like, seriously, do these people ever learn? He said as he flung himself on the chair. They were desperate, Naruto. Gaara, their attitude was something less than desired. But you know that we can't. They're going to war with Kumo and Iwa, along with Oto. Hinata spoke up, I guess. So are you staying the night? Oh, I'm hurt. You sound like you don't want us here anymore. Naruto whined. Honestly, I sometimes wonder how you became Uzukage. He smiled as Hinata giggled. Let's go. I'll show you the way. When thought you already know it. Back in Uzushio, a brunette woman in her mid-20s was on her way home to her family. Opening the door, she was met with a raven-haired man sitting on the couch reading a book. When he saw her, he stood up and went to kiss her. How was your day, my love? He asked. That idiot went to Konoha. Honestly, sometimes he's too nice for his own good, she said as he sat her down on his lap. I don't think he would have made Uzushio into the place it is now if he didn't have a kind heart. You're right. Where are the kids? They slept early, if that's what you mean. They're 7 years old, Miley, and about to start the academy tomorrow. They need all the sleep they can get. You're right, it's just they grew up so fast. The new identified as Miley said. I think Otto's time for you to go to sleep as well. Oh, it's a misspelling here. I think it's time for you to go to sleep as well. Are you going to come too? I'll be there in a bit, just gonna finish this chapter. Alright? Don't take too long. Oh, by the way, the plan to get your brother out of Konoha has started. Thank you for everything. The raven haired man smiled and kissed the top of her head. Good night, Miley. Good night, Itachi. Konoha. It's been a week since the alliance talks with Uchiha had failed. When word went out that Naruto was the Uzukage, the villagers thought they were saved. They believed that just as his father saved the village, he too would step up and do the same. Sorry for them, he wasn't doing anything for them, much to some of them shock. Others ashamed of condemning his life to one of torture and pain. Tsunade was in her office with a headache and a mountain of paperwork. The council was having a fit, all because Naruto refused an alliance with them. Surely thought that they really couldn't blame him due to everything he endured, and not to mention that he had a non-aggression pact with them. The war wasn't going to end anytime soon. They were losing bad, and it seemed that none of the other villages were willing to bat an eye towards them. In all honesty, it was the funding that they were receiving from Firelord. They were still able to keep the village together. Tsunade-sama, the council has called for another meeting, Shizune said as she entered the office. She groaned. These people were getting on her nerves now. Fine, I'll be there soon, she said, dismissing her. She sighed. The war wasn't going to end, as far as she saw it, unless some miracle occurred. They had already lost the war. Sasuke was sitting on his bed, thinking about everything that had just occurred about a week ago. He knew that what he had done was stupid, but he was young and blinded by revenge. He tried meditation, and to his shock, he found out a small detail that he didn't know had happened. But the more he thought about it, the more clear it became. He remembered that Itachi had actually cried that day before he left. He cried. That just got to him. More confused about it, made him believe that Naruto was telling the truth, that there was something else behind the massacre. He felt so stupid. He was blinded by hate and anger so much that he never thought of that possibility. He also remembered a small detail of Anbu, but not ordinary ones, attacking him. But he was saved by a girl. He couldn't see her face clearly, but she saved him before he went and saw Itachi killing everyone. I see that you've been thinking for so long, Sasuke, a voice said from the corner of his room. He didn't even sense the person as he jumped and picked up his sword. Who are you? And how did you get inside undetected? He said. I'm hurt, you still don't remember me, the person said in a mocking tone as they emerged out of the shadows. His eyes widened as the sword dropped. You, Uzushio, back in Uzu. Naruto in his office when he got word that the Earth and Lightning daimyos wanted to speak to him. When are you meeting them? Hinata asked with their child in her arms. Maybe in 2 days. Yeah, 2 days would be alright. It might have to do with the Kages. What do you think? If they got word of the war, their hidden villages are in and aiding Orochimaru along with him deceiving both nations, then maybe. But how did they get that information? I'm not sure, my love, she replied. Arashi isn't letting you off that easily now, is he? He groaned as he remembered when they returned. His uncle was way too overprotective and started a storm, believing that he had been kidnapped. He actually went as far as almost sending a threat of war to Konoha, believing they did something, which was stopped when the secretary barged in saying the Uzukage arrived. He said, I can't use shadow clones for the paperwork. Can't you believe that? He exclaimed, waving his arms. She and their son, Haku Uzumaki, just laughed. Daddy, you're so funny. Aw, it's not me. It's your granduncle. That's making me suffer, he said, anime tears running down his face. All that aside, Millie's kids started the academy 2 days ago, Hinata said. I think we should go and walk around the village. I don't think they'll like the idea of their king all crabbed up in his office all the time, she said jokingly. Yeah, I guess so. Let's go. I could really go for some lunch about now, he said as the three of them left the office. I believe I have a name, Sasuke, back in Konoha, that person said. How did you get in here, the Anbu? You're forgetting something. I'm Rath Al Ghul. Anything possible with me. Besides, security is way too lax here. What do you want? I haven't got the information for you, though I did get something. Then tell me what you found out, she said, as she sat on her chair in the room. Well, I looked into, and there was indeed a clan that the Uchihas were afraid of, he said. He didn't really like admitting it, though. I think they were afraid because absolutely no genjutsu worked on them, which is our clan's specialty due to the Sharingan, but we couldn't copy their moves either. That's all I found out. Well then, little Sasuke-chan. He drew a tick mark at the remark but continued listening. The clan that the Uchihas had feared were the Demon Clan, my clan, she said. He was in complete shock and somewhat in denial. No way. You're a part of a clan? The last of my clan after my mother died of a disease. Just like you, they were wiped out by one of their own before my mother killed the said person. About my clan though, I remember something that I didn't before. When my brother was leaving, he was crying. Does that ever make sense to you? He said, looking confused. Nope, that is exactly what happened. Did you remember something else? She said, hopefully. Well, I think I was being attacked by Anbu, but they didn't seem like the normal one. They are called Root. It's this secret organization that the third Hokage told the oh-so crippled mummy to disband, but he didn't. How do you know about this? All of this? He asked suspiciously. I told you, I'm Rathel Cool. Now continue what we were going to say. Okay, so I was being chased by these Root you called off, and then there was a girl who saved me. I think it's kind of blurry, he said, as he squinted his eyes and tried so hard to remember. He was stopped when she placed a hand on his shoulder. I don't think the effect was lasting really long, she mumbled, even though he heard it, and then said, stop trying so hard to remember. It won't do you any good. He looked at her suspiciously. And why is that? Because I sealed away some of your memories. She started shocking. What? What do you mean? Then getting angry, he yelled, why the hell were you messing with my head? I came here to tell you the truth, Sasuke, the truth behind your clan massacre. So sit down and listen to what I have to say. He reluctantly did, and as he was told, and so she told everything about the coup d'etat and how Itachi was ordered to kill all those involved, just leaving behind the elderly and children, as his own mother, but something never added up. But if there were supposed to be some Uchiha alive, why aren't they? Closing his eyes, he whispered, Danzo. I don't know if you realized, but a couple of weeks before the massacre, Itachi turned cold towards everyone except you and his best friend Shisui. I was friends with Itachi when we were younger, since I used to live with the fourth Hokage for 2 years before he and his wife died. I stayed around the village, but my father wanted me back into the league, so I went with the promise that Naruto would be loved by these villagers. She scoffed and continued, imagine my surprise when I came back for a visit and saved him from a mob of villagers. Anyways, getting off the topic here, Danzo killed the remaining Uchihas with his root. He didn't want a single Uchiha alive, seeing them as a threat. It's funny really. It was around the same time I came to say goodbye to my friend as I was heading off when I see his younger brother almost killed before me, she said as smiled at him. That's when it came to him. You're that girl, the one I visually remember, he exclaimed. Yup, and for the rest, well, I think I should undo the memory jutsu I placed on you. She tapped his forehead and a green glow had appeared. Just then, a rush of memories opened up, that memories that were locked away on that fateful day. He saw a younger version of himself being held protectively by Mali as she looked at Itachi, his brother. Why, Itachi? Why are you doing this? You are supposed to leave the children and those not involved alone, she yelled. I didn't, I swear. All I did was kill the ones I was supposed to, and then I saw. It was rude, wasn't it? Mali said. The younger him looked at his brother with tears. He held on to the front of the girl's shirt. Nissan, they were our family. How could you do this? Were they doing something bad? He exclaimed, still trying to see his brother as the kind, compassionate idol he knew. No, Sasuke, it wasn't your brother's fault. It's Mali. You can't tell him. I was ordered to kill all who knew. I can't bring myself to kill my brother, he said with tears in his eyes. She went over to him, and the three were engulfed in a group hug. What's going to happen now? Danzo's route was after Sasuke. If I didn't come when I did, then he wouldn't be even here. Itachi's eyes hardened by the information, and it didn't go unnoticed. Nissan, what's going on? Please tell me. You're not the bad guy here, right? His younger self pleaded. I'm sorry, I can't tell you, but I won't be able to stay after tonight, he said sorrowfully as he looked at his little brother. Why not? Everyone is dead. I don't want to be alone. Ignoring him, Itachi faced Miley. I need you to wipe his memories. What? Why do you want to do that? She said, unconsciously holding him tighter. The younger Sasuke did the same. Please, if they find out that he knows, then they'll try to kill him as well. Hurry before the Anbu comes. She looked at him and then the boy in her arms. He looked scared, not wanting her to do so. Okay, fine. Since he's going to forget, then won't hear from people that you are the one who killed your clan. He'll want to kill you. It's better than if he goes after Danzo. I'll make sure he hates me. He'll get strong and kill me. This is my sin, and I don't want anyone else going down with me. The Uchiha clan's honor. He looked at Sasuke with happiness. You will live on in him. You know very well of what that Warhawk can do. It's better if he comes after me than get hurt and go after Danzo. Sighing, she said, well, at least say your final words to him. It's not like he'll remember anything. Looking at his brother, he smiled and a pain once. After tonight, we'll hear things from people. They'll say that I killed our entire clan, which isn't really true or false. I killed some because they wanted to start a civil war within the village. So in order to prevent that, I was ordered to kill them. The others were killed by a man named Danzo. I can only wish that you don't go anywhere near him, Sasuke. You are my brother, and I will miss you so much. I'll protect you from outside the village, so try to live a normal life and get strong, okay? Sasuke, no matter what happens, I will always be there for you. He finished, and just before he could question him, he heard memory lock and saw green glow. The last thing he heard was Tsukiyomi, and he was in utter hell. After seeing the rush of memories, Sasuke couldn't help but cry. After so long of brooding and being an emo, he cried, and cried all the emotions he had bottled up over the years. Miley went over him and held him as he cried. After a while, the sobs had lessened. So Sasuke, what are you going to do now? She asked when calm down. I'm going to kill Tanzo and hold it right there. I don't think that Itachi would like that at all. I think you heard his warning, didn't you? But he's just an old crippled man. You know, now that you say it like that, it sounds like you like ganging up on crippled, defenseless people, she jokes. Anyway, he isn't crippled. He just makes it seem like that. Oh, and how so? He asked sarcastically. He was starting to like her. She wasn't the other females who were mostly his fangirls, and his brother, who he knew, saw in a new light. Saw her as a friend, which was something major since he remembered his brother hating all females due to the fact they were mostly his fangirls, but she seemed nice to hang out with. Deception is a shinobi's greatest tool. I thought everyone in this village finally understood that after my bro's flashy performance, she said aloud, mostly to herself. Anyway, he doesn't have a crippled arm. It's actually quite disgusting. He made an arm out of Hashirama's Senju's cell and implanted Sharingans of them who he butchered in it and covered it with a bandaged arm. When he heard that, he was seething. How dare that old fool take the Uchiha's pride possession? I know what you're thinking, and no, you aren't going to go after him. Not now, she said sternly. And why is that? You can't take Sharingan. It belongs to my clan, he yelled. Shut up, would you? You're starting to get on my nerves. Anyway, I was wondering if you wanted to live in if you wanted to leave this place. I was going to give you a choice. A choice between what? He asked curiously. A choice to stay here in this godforsaken village, or to come with me and live with your actual family. People who care for you and not for your Sharingan. You're making it sound like as if you're married to Itachi and you guys have kids or something. He laughed and looked at her. She had a serious head. Wait, don't tell me that's true? Sorry, bro. But yes, congratulations, you're an uncle, she exclaimed, and then got some party streams out of her pocket and popped them towards him. I can't believe this. How come no one told me? He exclaimed. Don't get him wrong. He was thrilled that there were others Uchihas, but something didn't add up. Well, you were an obnoxious little brat along with brooding and emo whining. I wasn't that annoying, was I? No, you were 10 times worse. She smirked as his face reddened from anger or embarrassment. Who knew? Anyways, we were making a plan to get you out without the council being about you know what. So, what's your oh so great plan? She smacked his head. Don't mock me. It's a great plan, anyways, and you got to see that all this pampering was for nothing. She smiled wickedly, and he felt a shiver go down his spine. Sasuke might act tough, but there were some people who scared him a lot, and those were girls who, despite knowing who he was, didn't care and was stronger than him. He would admit that she was strong considering who her father was. By the way, how many Uchihas are there in Uzushio? I believe that's where you live, right? Shit, almost forgot. Naruto is Uzukage. I don't think he'll want me there, he said as he descended downstairs to drink and get some food. Yeah, he doesn't. Honestly, I'd let him kill you, but considering it was Itachi's fault, you're all messed up in the brain, along with the pathetic council pampering you. I think you'll deserve a second chance. Besides, I never asked him anything before, so he agreed. As long as you behaved yourself, then it'll be alright. As for how many Uchihas, well, I have triplets and Itachi and the other two. That makes it 6 with the Sharingans. But you're an Uchiha now, too, right? He questioned as he gave her some food and water, which she happily ate. Yup. But I was counting those with the Sharingans. Oh, okay, wait. Who are the other two? You'll see. There was a long silence as they ate until Sasuke broke it. Miley, she looked up and as he smiled, thank you for giving me another chance and for a family. No problem, kiddo. Just make sure it doesn't bite me later on. And then mumbled something about never letting it slide as he laughed. He felt something that he had never felt before. He felt free. Uzushio Council Room. Welcome esteemed daimyo from both Lightning Country and the Earth Nations. Naruto began. Thank you, Lord Uzukage, for seeing us on such a short notice. As such as I love my visits to your country, there are certain things that have come an issue that must be solved soon. The Earth Daimyo began. Yes, it is like my counterpart had said. We have both been recently brought to light that our respective Kages have been puppets installed by the venomous snake. The daimyos of the lightning said. What does this have to do with us? We can't attack your respective villages due to the non-aggression treaty, Rashi said. Yes, but you see, you signed it with us, the daimyo of the nation, not the Kage. We know it's asking for too much, but we would like it if you could remove those Kages so we could replace them with those of our choice, the Earth daimyo asked. Everyone was stunned by this. There were murmurs, and then Naruto cleared his throat, silencing them. So you want us to be a part of the war that they are waging against Konoha and kill them? He questions. Yes, but if you could spare our shinobis, if you could tell them that their daimyo told them to stand down, anyone of those who disobeys, you can deal with. Honestly, I was planning to deal with that annoying snake sooner or later on, but I guess it's a perfect choice now, Naruto said. I think you should give us a bit of time to discuss among ourselves, Arashi said, getting a nod of approval. Very well, but we hope you agree, Uzukage-sama. It would help us greatly. The two daimyo left. I think we should help them, Arashi said, immediately gaining the looks of confusion and shock as he grew another head. You do know that by doing so, we'll be helping Konoha, don't you? One of the council members said. Oh, I'm well aware of the fact, but my nephew also got me some news information, if you don't mind if I share. He asked, which led to his permission. Apparently, the bet made with Konoha was a secret bet made by Danzo and the Hokage's two advisors, Koharu and Hamura. They also sold my people out, and now, well, let's just say that I'm going to paint their streets with their blood. He finished with a bloodthirsty grin, scaring most of the people there. Is everyone else against this? Naruto asked. Are we going to inform Konoha about this? Nope. Let them feel despair. We'll come in last minute, but not when things look helpless, Naruto replied, and they all grinned. No one liked Konoha, and they were more than happy to see it burn to the grounds. But now they had to help due to daimyos asking them for help. The council was dismissed, and Naruto went straight to the office. This is going to be much fun, he thought. Konoha Council Chambers. The Civilian Council and the Shinobi Council, along with the Hokage and Advisor and Danzo, were all gathered in the meeting room. The civilian side was so full of themselves like usually, but the Shinobi side knew that they were losing the war badly. Tsunade-sama, what is being done to turn the war in our favor? A councilman asked. It's all that demon fault. He won't even help us when we needed it. A pink-haired woman screeched. Oh, and pray do Tell us why he would. He could very well join the war against us. Let's be lucky that Naruto won't change his mind for the worst, Tsunade yelled. It's all your people's faults. And now you're whining like little sissies, Tsunami barked. Indeed, we had a number of great beneficial alliances, and they were all lost when you idiots decided to execute him, Hiyashi said. And Minato's son, on top of that. We can't even go places without whispers and glares being directed towards us, Inuichi said. The civilian side were all squirming in their seats from the killer intent and glares they were receiving. Troublesome. We all hated them, and it's all their faults, but we need to get back to the matters in hand. We're facing two of the great nations along with the Sound Village. No doubt when other villages hear about that we're losing, then they would also want to band with them and fight against us, Shikaku said. Is there any word from the fire daimyo, Hokage-sama? Joza asked. Yes, and he sounds like he wants to completely wash his hands from the village, and I honestly don't blame him. He lost face with the other daimyos, and the fire country as a whole is suffering from economic backlash from the broken treaties. The will of fire that my grandfather saw in this village has long been extinguished. I say, we just go to Uzashio and kill the demon brat. Then we use his resources for the war, and this came from none other than Danzo. The Shinobi Council, Anbu and Hokage looked at him as if he had gone mad, while the Civilian Council and the advisor nodded their heads. No, we are... Have you lost your minds? Do you want them to join the war? Tsunade exclaimed. Danzo is quite right. We had an alliance with the Uzumaki clan before. They should help us, like in the old times, Hamura said. You mean so you could betray them again? Shikaku said, narrowing his eyes. The Uzumaki are already angry at us for the treatment you people are responsible for. They care for family above anything else, and we are lucky that Naruto was able to hold them off. Doing that will only lead to our downfall. Not to mention that Naruto is recorded as a double-S-rank shinobi with a fully on-side order, and along with his uncle, Uzumaki Arashi, who even the Yontem couldn't beat, despite being older than him. Shibi added, So yeah, let's just go and give them another reason to hate us, and join the war. Choza added sarcastically, Well, it's not like a blessing while just walk in front of the door. We'll need to do something, a councilwoman screeched. We don't do anything, were the collective thoughts of the shinobi in the room. Just then, one of the walls broke down and in came two people. Yo, what's up, Konoha scum? Do you really have to kick down the wall? Dramatic effects. Sasuke dramatically effects. Besides, it's much cooler. All the hidden Anbu came out immediately as the Shinobi Council got into a battle stance while the Civilian Council covered in fear. Look at them, all scared like a bitch. And they think they're above us, she said, pointing at the Civilian Council. Miley, what are you doing here? Besides, can't you use the door like a normal person? Tsunade said, sitting back down, which alarmed the other as to why she was so casually with the wall breaker. It's what I told Sasuke right now. It's much cooler breaking than the wall. Then she turned serious. I have a message from the Uzukage. Now this got everyone's attention until stupid council member said, Oh, so the brat's going to help us now. The person found himself hovering in mid-air in a lot of pain. They all looked at Miley, who had her hands raised in air. I suggest you don't disrespect my Kage in front of me, no less my little brother. Do we have an understanding? To which he nodded furiously and threw to aside. Anyways, Uzukage-sama wants all Uzumaki swirls on your shinobi jackets and anything else completely removed or else. Or else what? Koharu asked. Or else war, she said smilingly. He's going to wage war just because we don't remove a symbol? A council member yelled. Yup. She smiled again. She loved it when they looked like a bunch of headless chickens. And why's that? Koharu asked. Because he can, she sang and then captured in laughter. When they started yelling threats and one other meaningless things, I can't believe that you have kids, Sasuke whispered. I would be surprised that they be as immature as you. Hey, I raised my kids quite well. Thank you very much, she exclaimed. By the way, make sure no one finds out they have their Itachi's kids too, or else these hooligans are gonna try something, you know, she whispered. I'll kill them before they even try to lay a finger on them. Anyways, she got the council's attention. Yeah, that's the message and all. So what you guys waiting for? Clapping hands. Chop chop. Get a move on. I don't have all day, you know. Uzashio. Hey everyone, I'm home, Miley said. Just then, three blurs of raven and some brown head tackled her to the ground. Aw, did you miss me that much? Kazan, the three said, not getting off the ground. The three children see a raven headed guy behind their mother, who oddly looked like their father. Nay, nay, Kazan, why does this guy look like our Tosan a lot? The little girl asked. Oh, let me introduce you guys. Kids, this is your uncle, Sasuke. Sasuke, these are your two nephews and one niece. Serena Uchiha, Haru Uchiha, and Kei Uchiha. She smiled at her children. They just stared at him, and he did the same. Serena had brown hair, just like her mother, with raven strands along with black eyes. She looked a lot like her mother as well. She wore a plain navy blue shirt that went all the way to her knees, and black tights. She also wore black boots to complement the outfit. Haru had raven hair with brown strands opposite to his sister and looked a lot like Itachi, but without the two lines under his eyes. He also had piercings, black eyes. He wore a green button shirt and black jeans and dark green shoes. To finish the outfit, Kei was a mixture between both Miley and Itachi. He had his father's hair and eyes, but his mother's face, figure, and features. He wore a dark red shirt that had designs, have fire around it, and the same black jeans as his brother, but he wore black shoes. Sasuke just stared at them and didn't know what to say. He had a family, his brother was innocent. He had all these different thoughts now. Yeah, you might wanna hurry. Konoha doesn't know you're here, remember? Miley reminded him. You're our uncle? Serena spoke up. Yes, your father is my brother. Sugoi, do you have our eyes too? Just like Tosan? Kei asked, and on cue the three of them turned their Sharingan to Tomos. How? Was all Sasuke was able to breathe out. They were what, 7 and already had their Sharingans? Yeah. Long story, but why don't we go inside? Which is, he motioned her to continue. Let's just say it starts off with the fact that I have too much chakra due to my Kekkei. Anyways, there are others waiting for you, she said as they made their way to the front door from the gate. The three children just kept chatting away with their new uncle, and Sasuke found himself enjoying them. As they opened the door, they saw Itachi coming from the living room. Miley, there you are. Do you know how worried I was? Don't just disappear. And that's when he noticed Sasuke. He trailed off. He was engulfed in a hug by the said person. They just stood there, one crying, the other trying not to, but failing miserably. Just then, someone else came downstairs. Ah, such a touching moment. It's making me want to cry. Why in the world are you running? Such perfect blackmail material. Miley shouted at the person. What are you both doing? Tachi said, glaring at the annoying male. Sasuke just looked at him, and then recognition hit him. You. Why are you alive? I thought. You know, when he says it like that, you make it sound like you don't want me here. What a pity, he snickered. Hey, give the boy some space, Shisui. Alright. God, do you guys know how to lighten the mood? He said sulkingly. Uncle Shisui, come on, you promised to take us to the park today, remember? Haru said excitedly, as the other nodded and went. Itachi and Sasuke kept on talking to one another. Yeah, Shisui, you promised, remember? Miley mocked. But I don't wanna, he whined. Man, you are never going to get a girl at this rate. Miley shook her head. That is, if you don't want a harem, he said playfully. He didn't really mean it, since they have a brother-sister relationship. Sorry bro, but my bodyguard doesn't let anyone come near me. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised if you were locked in the door all the day. The three children were running around him the entire time. I'll tell my minions. Go bother your other uncle. But don't forget, I'm always number one, okay? They nodded and ran towards Sasuke, who fell on the ground due to their force. Say, did they eat lunch? Miley asked Itachi. Nope, it's getting made right now, he said, coming to her and giving her a kiss. Oh, come on, are you trying to rub it in now? Shisui exclaimed. Rub in what? Sasuke said as he carried Serena in her arms, Haru on his shoulder and Kei right beside him. Wait, Sasuke-chan, your brother is damn scary, Miley remembered Akio. Shisui said, and he and Miley both started laughing, while Itachi's eyes twitched. Must you bring that up all the time? He hissed. Come on, it was really sweet. Not for him, that is. Who is Akio, guys? Oh, and you never told me how you still alive. Sasuke pointed out. Oh, there's both long stories. Mile begin. But the Akio one starts with a very jealous Itachi. She snickered. They all laughed at Itachi's scowl until they heard, "Kids, your lunch is ready. You don't want it to get cold, do you?" Sasuke froze as he heard this voice. It sounded like someone else he knew, but was supposed to be dead. And to his suspicions, the said person came out and their eyes met. "Sasuke!" And they ran to him. He doing the same. "Kazan!" He choked out. Yup. Ladies and gentlemen, that was none other than Mikoto Uchiha in the flesh. He turned to Miley, Shisui, and my mom. But the two others, weren't they? She just smiled, and he smiled. And they narrowed his eyes. How? Yeah, that's another long story. And how does this one start off? He raised his eyebrows. There were too many long stories, and even if his time here was limited, he would still want his answers. There was a reason to why the Uzumakis were feared. She shrugged as they made themselves into the kitchen. Uchiha compound, Konoha. Sasuke Uchiha just sat there, looking into space. He had spent time with his family. Man, that sounded weird. Yup, he just couldn't get over the fact that he had living relatives and came from the dead back to live relatives. He was going to live there. Sure, Naruto was Uzukage and he was going to live there as well, but he wanted his forgiveness since he knew he messed up badly, especially with the conversation he had with him before he left. "I'll let you live in this country, but if you try to harm anyone here, I will make the streets of Konoha run red with your blood." He still shivered a bit whenever he remembered the threat, but was glad nonetheless. He began packing since he had about 1 or 2 weeks left in Konoha. 1 week later, Konoha's Hokage office. "Lady Hokage, the enemy shinobis are at the front gates. Orochimaru's summon have destroyed it." "What? How could they have? Never mind. I want all available shinobis working around the clock. Have the civilian been evacuated?" "Hokage-sama, we are still in the progress of doing so. The Konoha Shinobi 8 are all on the battlefield, while Sasuke is working in the hospital. Sakura is working in the hospital and Sasuke is also on the battlefield." "Alright, you're dismissed." He bowed and exited. "What exactly do you want, Jiraiya?" The said man came out of the shadows. "I guess it's our turn to go into a war again, huh?" He said with a serious face. Tsunade stood up. "Sure is," and they went on to the battlefield, only to meet with Raikage, Tsuchikage, and Orochimaru. Well, it seems that a slug princess came out to play," the Raikage mocked. Although he was a puppet head, and he and the Tsuchikage were in their own rights very strong shinobi. Of course, every Konoha shinobi know that its destruction has begun. Tsuchikage followed suit. "Konoha will stand as long as I live, as long as I am Hokage. This village will not fall," Tsunade yelled with determination. "I'd like to see you try. We've already entered the village. There's nothing stopping us now. I will burn it to the ground," Orochimaru yelled as he lunged forward at his teammates. Unexpectedly, Tsunade, she didn't have time to react, and she heard people calling her name as time slowed down, and the sword lunged forward. "Hokage-sama!" all the shinobi yelled as they desperately tried to stop the sword, but to no avail. Some not even being to move or breathe. With Jiraiya, the most desperate, all was lost until clank was heard. Looking up, she heard the words that she would never be so relieved to hear. Others tried to hold their tears back. "Really are old, aren't you, Bachan?" "Naruto?" she whispered in tears. With Naruto there were 9 other major figures, all who looked extremely pissed, especially a woman with blood-red hair and the man with the blonde hair, who looked just like Naruto, but just like the red-haired woman, he was supposed to be dead. Jiraiya being the first person out of his shock stuttered, "Minato, Kushina," which snapped all the shinobis, either enemy or Konoha shinobi, out of it. They looked, and indeed it was Konoha's Yellow Flash and Red Death, and they looked lividly pissed. "Yondan-sama," some of the shinobi yelled and felt excited that he was here to help. "Sucks to be them. Don't you dare call me that. I am not, will not be associated to Konoha after what you have done to my son," he yelled as he glared at them. "Shinobi of Eva and Kumo." Naruto began as he added chakra to his vocals so they all could hear him. "I come with a message from your respective daimyos. The Kages that you are following are merely puppet heads for Orochimaru. All shinobi from these 2 villages are to pull back, and you will not suffer. All those who continue to fight will be dealt with accordingly, and Konoha shinobi that is seen attacking a surrendering shinobi from these 2 villages will be killed off. No question asked. Do I make myself clear?" He finished. For the first 10 seconds no one moved, but then there were some shinobis who put down their weapons and began leaving. "Tsunade-sama, can't let them leave," a shinobi yelled. You heard pretty well, as I did, that the Uzukage will all kill who attack the surrendering ones, Shikamaru said. And on top of that, he brought well-known figures, although I don't know how the Yondaime is alive along with the Uchihas, or actually, I have no idea what's going on, Shino exclaimed, shocking the others with a outburst. Well, it is Naruto we're talking about, Kiba said. I see you changed your mind, Gaki. Oh no, we're not here to help Konoha, Kushina began. By the way, where were you when our son was supposed to be raised properly by you, huh? She smiled sweetly, a bit too sweet. Now, Kushina, we don't need to get violent here, do we? He began to sweat immediately. I too would like to know that, Sensei. Minato glared at him. No, Konoha is a battlefield. It's been destroyed, so we're using it and certain people. Do you really think that I'll mess up my country? No, but not at all. They all just looked at him wide-eyed. The Naruto they knew would never want to deliberately destroy Konoha, so who was this? Alright everyone, you each have someone you want dead, so go kill them. Hinata, you take the Tsuchikage, Miley, the Raikage, and I'll take the Snake on. The boys and I are going after Danzo. He'll pay for what he did to my people, Mikoto said as Shisui and Itachi were behind her. Fine, you take the cripple. I'll take out his goons and anyone else in my way. Arashi said, Minato and I are going after the civilian council. Kushina exclaimed and Minato nodded. Well, I guess I'll go with the Uchihas and take out his route, Kurama said. Alright, everyone knows what they're doing, so go. We'll meet back here right after you're done. They nodded and scattered, leaving Naruto and two ladies. They're not really going to, Tsunade began. As I said, I couldn't care less to what happens to Konoha. All they're doing is getting payback, Naruto said. Then why did you save her, you brat? Orochimaru yelled angrily that he was stopped. This was something they all anticipated. Simple, really. She didn't want to be the Hokage, and only is because of the bet she lost to me. Besides, she was an Uzumaki. After all, she has Uzumaki blood running with her, making her a family. He smiled as he went into a fighting stance. Now, then, shall we dance? He smirked, and then all hell went loose. Shinobi could just stare as the three of them completely demolished their opponents and the surrounding areas in about 10 minutes. The fight was officially over, with each one of them successfully killing their opponents. When they were done, the others had all returned from their side jobs. I see, we all did what we came here for, Naruto said, and they nodded. The old bags of bones kept yelling, for the good of Konoha. Please, the good for Konoha, my ass. They only wanted power, Rashi said. Ah, it's nice to have my other eye back, Shisui exclaimed. You know, he had a bunch of them on his arms. It was really disgusting, Mikoto exclaimed. There's Danzo for you, Miley said, and they all laughed. How are you alive? Inuichi said, being the first to snap out of it. You wanna do the honors? Hinata said, looking at Miley. I think little Sasuke-chan should go first, Miley said as she turned to the scowling Sasuke. It's a long story, he smirked. But it begins with Kushina-sensei and Minato-san beating the crap out of Kakashi first. Shisui smirked. Itachi said, crossing his arms in amusement. They all wanted to know what happened. And yeah, both of them are going to tell. Oh yeah, where is the Cyclops anyway? I'm a whore, huh? The nerve. Kushina yelled as she scanned her surroundings, and they saw a blob of gray defying hair trying to escape. Unfortunately, there was a bright yellow flash right beside him. Hello there, dear Kakashi. I see you're doing well. I heard something very interesting apparently. I'm a bastard now, am I, Kakashi? Minato smiled as Kushina chains wrapped around the poor boy. Yes, we heard everything now. It's time for your punishment. Poor Kakashi's screams were heard everywhere. Aftermath. The Konoha Council, or what was left of it, the Shinobi Council, were gathered in the meeting room, along with the entire Konoha 11, their senses, and those who came from the Uzushu. So yes, there was a lot of people in one room. Okay, now that the war is over, someone please give me a status report. Actually, before that, Uzukage, do you mind telling us why you came? Tsunade asked. Well, Hinata and I came to take out the puppets and the snakes while everyone else came from a different reason, and they completed it. You do know that we could press charges. You intentionally demolished half of Konoha, Shikaku added. Yes, a pity it wasn't all, Arashi said, earning him a jab in the rib from his sister. You could, but you won't. What makes you so sure? Yashi asked. Everyone knows that if it wasn't for me, the Konoha would have burned. All it's get you is more humiliation, just like 7 years ago. They winced at that since the other nations still didn't like them. Oh, and I have a very pissed off Biju right here, who could sink this village into the ground in matter of seconds. On a cue, Kurama began waving all his tails with a sadistic grin. Pick your poison, human scum. We'll just get caught in it as well. Josa said, Nope, we have the creator of a very famous jutsu and his son. I believe we'll be able to make it out safe, right, Dad? Minato just smirked as he nodded. Oh, he wanted them to squirm, alright. Which brings another question. And don't get me wrong, but how the hell are you people alive? And please don't tell me it's a long story, in which he exclaimed. It's just one of the main reasons as to why the three nations combined forces to take the Uzumakis out. With just a bit of blood and the correct sealing formula, then poof, the dead came back to life. As for Minato, well, Naruto made a deal with the Shinigami saying that in exchange for his father's soul, he killed Orochimaru. Well, he did. Miley said, Well, thank you for your help, although you really didn't want to. Actually, we stayed behind for another reason, Mikoto said, which is, I want my son back with me in Uchiha. I'm sorry, but he's a Konoha shinobi and actually, Hokage-sama, I resigned that day before, and you approved, Sasuke said as he took out the paper document. When did I sign this? He also said, signing a paper that with the Uchiha saying he's allowed to take a civilian instead of killing Danzo, and we chose Sasuke. Mikoto exclaimed, Fine. Sasuke, you may leave. His chakra has to be sealed up and other things has to be done as well as Tsunade-sama. We can't just let him go, Inichi said. He's staying in a place where Uzumakis live. Do I really need to explain myself? She huffed, and they understood what she meant. Even if they sealed everything, it would look like child's play to an Uzumaki. I guess you should also know that the Akatsuki are no more, Hinata said, which came to a shock to everyone in the room. What happened? Tsunade said. Well, remember when Hinata and I went to Suna? They thought it was a great time to attack and get Shikaku. You know that Nara has a similar name to the Ichibi. Shisui said. I was thinking the same thing. Up to, bro? Miley said as they high-five one another, gaining everyone's attention. Are the two of you done? Itachi raised an eyebrow and they nodded. Anyways, before I was so rudely interrupted, glares at them. We attacked by the entire Akatsuki, or what was left of it, Miley added. Naruto just turned around and looked at her. Do you want to tell the story? Hey, I was just adding the important part. You can continue, oh great Uzukage-sama, she mocked boldly. You know what? The Akatsuki was destroyed by Naruto, his wife and the Suna shinobi. Can't you just say that? Arashi yelled, and he threw his arms up. But I wanted to tell the story in a more cinematic way. Naruto whined as he sat in a depressing corner, and Hinata tried to cheer him up. The Uchiha group just laughed as the Konoha shinobi were just giving them looks of amusement. Can we leave now? I want to go back to my minions. Shisui whined. How much time did I tell you to stop calling my children that? Itachi exclaimed. What? But it's true. They're perfect into going to small places and they hardly get caught. He exclaimed. That reminds me of the pranks I used to pull here. Kushina said, and Minato put his arms around her. You are the prank master, alright. Oh, I remember too. I used to help with a couple. Mikoto said, and the two of the friends giggled. Naruto here quite is a prankster himself too. Hinata said, the kid was indeed a pranking legend. His pranking was far better than yours, Kushina, Kurama said. You guys are making it seems like all Uzumakis likes to prank. Rashi sighed, and they grinned. Well, we do. And they all laughed again. Yeah, guys, I think we're creeping the rest of the Konoha out here. Miley said. They all just looked at her as if she had gone crazy. What? Why are you calling Konoha the Konohanins now? Aren't you supposed to call rocks the, meteorites? Shisui said. Well, you know what? This sounds stupid and don't ever mention it. They don't even have to, Miley, Itachi exclaimed, wondering what crazy thing his wife thought of now, although he liked her crazy side as well. Do I look like an idiot? She yelled. Well, there was the one time Shisui began but shut up as he saw her that she was glaring at him. No, you aren't dumb. You're really smart. Genius, really, he said quickly, and she smiled and patted his back as the others just sweat dropped. Anyways, they're just like rocks. They're stubborn. Cause they actually thought they had a winning chance and kept boasting about it, and they're actually pretty stupid too. There was a collective murmur of agreements and nodding. The people of Kona just looked at the Uzushio group and had absolutely nothing to say. They were talking as if there was nothing wrong. I guess we should leave now. I'm worried about Haku, Hinata said. Alright, you guys, everyone, we're leaving. Get ready. They all held hands and were gone in a flash. Silence. Well, that was just weird. Shreya spoke up. Talking to the supposed dead isn't always an everyday thing. Getting insulted by powerful people and seeing them act like little children also isn't an everyday thing. This meeting is adjourned. I'll call those who'll go with me later. She stood up and walked to her office. When she opened it, she saw a scroll that said, Open up, please, which she reluctantly did. Upon unsealing it, she saw a pile of cash, enough to get least rebuilding almost all the Konoha. She was surprised, but then saw a note attached to it. When she read it, she just began to cry. If anyone asks, you don't know anything, alright, Bachan? You brat. Thank you. Thank you so much, Naruto. And so she decided to stop being a figurehead and turned the rotten village into something her grandfather would be proud of. And fast forward 8 years, she did. The elemental nations were at peace. The Raikage and Tsuchikage were replaced as well. Now the village, as of their ones, were also thriving, as well as Suna, Uzushio, and Konoha somewhat, gaining the respect of the other elemental nations back as a strong nation once more, under command of Tsunade. As this is where I'm going to be leaving off this story. I hope you like this one, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And this is Apollo Uchiha, and I'm signing out. Peace.